Lords, I welcome the Right Reverend Prelate of Chester, and I was absolutely delighted to hear him remind the House that there is no spare planet, because quite honestly, the rate at which we humans are trashing our planet suggests that we actually do think we can go to Mars or do something spectacular like that and still live a good life. And I'd like to point out that if we destroy this very beautiful planet, or make it less and less beautiful, less and less diverse, that means our lives will be utterly constrained as well. Now, I do like to say something nice about the government occasionally, if I possibly can, and I noted the Noble Lord the Minister's statement at the start saying, this aims for a greener, cleaner future for aviation. That's a very noble aim, but of course, it's impossible, I'm afraid, unless we radically rethink how we're going to deal with it. About 25 years ago, when I was on the London Assembly, we London Assembly members and the Mayor who was Ken Livingstone at the time, had a presentation by Heathrow. They promised, remember this is 25 years ago, they promised they could become sustainable within a few years. They claimed they should be given permission to expand because they would soon be polluting less. Now, it took us a couple of years, but the Mayor and the Assembly soon realised that Heathrow had lied. It still lies about expansion and pollution. It lies about how important it is to the economy and about how much public subsidy it gets. The truth is that the aviation industry cares about profits, not the environment. You can no more have sustainable aviation than you can have a crocodile with a conscience. It just doesn't exist. There's absolutely no techno-fix for the pollution that aviation causes. The Royal Society worked out that to reach net zero for aviation fuel, is this what we're calling jet zero? So snappy. We need at least half the UK's agricultural land to grow the raw materials, and that would be over 2/3 if farmers only grew rapeseed. Now that means less wheat, less barley, and fodder for livestock. That means higher prices for cereals and food. We already have food inflation due to floods in some areas and droughts in others. Last year, the 2025 UK harvest was the second worst on record. If the government wants farmers to grow jet fuel instead of food, then prices in the shops are going to rise in order to keep the planes flying. As we enter the era of climate crisis impacting on world food production, our country will have less farming land, but we'll want more of it devoted to support the oxymoronic idea of sustainable aviation. In the past 25 years, the UK has lost 771,000 hectares of farmland, contributing to a 12% fall in food self-sufficiency. That decline is about to get worse with the disastrous planning bill the government has passed. I love the effort going into expanding renewable energy and battery storage, but as the Climate Committee have pointed out, that doesn't stop aviation becoming the #1 contributor to emissions in the next few decades. This government has lost all claim to be a green government with its attack on nature in Britain and with its decisions to expand aviation. The go-ahead for the expansion of London City Airport, Luton, Gatwick and Stansted means an extra 51 million passengers per annum. If the government adds Heathrow to that total, then that's an extra 65 million passengers. If all those extra flights result in either extra emissions or in extra farmland taken up growing jet fuel, that means rising food prices and more public subsidy. Of course, the reality is that we won't switch 2/3 of our farming land to jet fuel. This whole bill is greenwash, designed to provide political cover for aviation expansion and their bigger profits. The real solutions are to tax private jets and the ultra-frequent flyers, to stop short-haul flights and make train journeys cheaper and more reliable. The solution is less flying, not this fiction of sustainable aviation. I am not trying to, somebody over here said, flight shame people. I think that it is understandable that families want to go on holiday once a year, but as the Noble Lord Russell pointed out, 70% of flights are taken by 15% of the population. Now that suggests that those people are grabbing their unfair share of the pollution that we can each expect to produce. And so I really would like to ask the Noble Lord the Minister if he doesn't approve of making train journeys cheaper and more reliable and actually putting a tax on private aircraft and on frequent flyers. I did say to the owners of Heathrow 20 years ago, much to their annoyance, if you want to show how environmental you are, then go ahead, fix the major problems of noise and air pollution, stop ruining the climate, and once you've done that, then and only then can we have a conversation about expansion of airports and of aviation. And I'm so disappointed with this government that it can't see that. I recognise they feel the need to go ahead and explain that aviation can go on just as it is and just as it has been in the past, but that simply isn't true.